Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
I've been doing videos on YouTube now for about 8 years. And I used to, in the old days, every couple of weeks on a Friday, I would do a video where I would just complain about stuff. And some people really enjoyed those videos and some people hated them. And I stopped doing them because I thought they were a little self-indulgent. But I've noticed in the last year or so in particular, where a lot of people ask me the same questions over and over again, either in comments to videos or in messages to Facebook or email. And I've also noticed a few other things that I think I should lump into the category here. I'm going to do a video for frequently asked questions. Now, not all of these are actual questions I get asked, but they're the kind of questions I wish people would ask to hear the answers. So I'm now going to list for you issues that I think that many people would like to know the answers to that arise after you watch videos on my channel, okay? So frequently asked questions, the number one thing I get asked about has to do with the t-shirts I wear on camera. You'll notice that right now I'm wearing a t-shirt that is blank. There's nothing on it. Very unusual, but I'm doing that because this video is a little different and it's going to be evergreen, as we say. So I'm not wearing a slogan or school or place on this shirt. But a lot of people ask me about the shirts, and a lot of people, unfortunately, who don't watch the channel often enough, will see me wearing a shirt and say, oh, I didn't know you went to school in Georgia. I didn't know you went to school in Utah. And I didn't. I went to school in Michigan and California, but many of the shirts have been donated to me. In fact, a vast majority of the shirts you see on this channel were donated. I have probably 400 or 500 shirts now. I've gotten 15 or 20 in 1 week before. I wear a double XL, and I've said before that I will wear any shirt that gets sent in as long as it fits, it's not obscene, and it's not political, okay? I suppose there probably are other categories, but if you watch my channel for any length of time, you'll get a feel for what kind of shirts I will wear. I love schools. I'm a big booster of education. I like places. So if there's a business that you think is cool or a place that you've been to that's cool, or you're ever someplace cool and you see a t-shirt, double XL, that's calling out to you to send to me, send it and I'll wear it, okay? But don't think that I'm wearing the shirt because I went there, because otherwise I have attended 150 different schools, and obviously I did not. So t-shirts are donated. I can't say I'm endorsing all of these places because I haven't been to many of them, but people who watch my channel will say, Steve, I went to this really cool place. Here's a shirt. I'll wear it. What can I tell you? This is important also to understand is the license plates behind me and around me, many of them are donated. 1 or 2 are mine, meaning that I paid for them or bought them. The MyTV one I got specifically because I thought it'd be cool to have after I started doing shows on a channel called MyTV. Look it up if you don't know about it, mymytv.com. And also the Karma license plate, which I just mispronounced. That's the Finnish word for snake. That is a duplicate of the plate that's actually on my Viper. But the plates and plaques and things on the set, likewise, for the most part, were donated. So I've never had a car in Virginia, but a viewer sent that in memory of the USS Cole. Likewise, I've never been in the Coast Guard. But somebody who was sent that in, said, Steve, would you put that on your set? I said, I'd be proud to put that on my set. I'm a big supporter also of our armed forces. The swords, there's a Civil War sword there, a World War I naval officer sword there, and another Civil War sword back there. 2 of those 3 swords were donated to me. One of them was mine. I mentioned it in a video. 2 other people donated swords to put them on the set. Again, those are donations. People sent them in, said, Steve, would you put this on your set? I said, I'd be happy to. So a lot of the stuff that you see behind me, the microphones, by the way, I get asked about those a lot. I am not an amateur radio operator. But, for instance, this was sent to me by a man who is. And the 2 tubes over here, actually 3 tubes, over here were sent to me by people after I mentioned that I worked in radio for a long time as a disc jockey and a talk show host. And I had tubes from back in the day, and during one of my moves, I lost them or damaged them, and they're gone. And so several people kindly sent me in big radio transmitter tubes. And about half the microphones behind me are my own personal collection. The other half were donated. People said, oh, you collect old microphones, and they sent them to me. And I appreciate that very much. So a lot of people see them, in particular the Lollipop, and say, oh, are you an amateur radio operator? Because that was a very popular microphone for some radio operators. No, I am not. I know people who are, but I am not. Likewise, if you want to email me, please email me at steve@letoslaw.com. I've had other email addresses over the years, And I asked people to send me emails at steve@letoslaw.com. People still send me emails at other addresses that I don't check as often. So if I've not given you an address to write to me at, please use steve@letoslaw.com. Otherwise, if you don't get a response, that might be why. Also, and this is one of the things that I really wish that more people would take to heart, at the end of every video it says, all correspondence to Leto's Law or Steve Leto, please send to this address, and there's a P.O. box. And that's a personal P.O. box of mine that I got specifically for the show. And I got that several years ago. And I was actually communicating with somebody yesterday, and he mentioned to me that he'd mailed me something, and it didn't ring a bell. And I said, what'd you send me? And he told me, and I said, never saw it. Never saw it. Where'd you send it? He said, well, I sent it to your office. I said, where'd you get my office address from? Because on my website, my homepage, I've got my P.O. box. On my videos for the last several years, I've got my P.O. box. The State Bar of Michigan shows a P.O. box as my mailing address. I said, where'd you find my office address? And don't get me wrong, I'm not like hiding or anything, but I want correspondence regarding this show sent to my P.O. box. And he said, I'm not sure where I found it, but I mailed it to your office because I thought you'd get it that way. And I don't know why people would think that the office is a better place to send me stuff than a P.O. box, because the P.O. box I have is mine. It's in a small town, and the postmaster is someone I know personally. You could mail something to that address and get the P.O. box wrong. I would still get it because she'd go, oh, Steve Leto, I know him. And she'd put it in my box. I actually walk into the post office to buy stamps. She'd go, oh, you got a letter. I mean, that's how small the P.O. box is, okay, the post offices. The problem I have is that people mail stuff to my office during COVID. And among other things, stuff hasn't shown up. And I don't know if it was delivered, if it was misdelivered, or just never showed up. I've yet to have anybody say that something sent to my P.O. box didn't get to me. Every single thing I've gotten. I've never had a single person say, Steve, I sent something to your P.O. box, it got lost. Never happened. However, stuff has been misdelivered and lost, sent to my office. And the reason is manifold. Number one, many people will actually address stuff like Leto's Law or Milo and Wolfie. And the postmaster looks at it, or the postal person looks and goes, what's this? And they don't know what to do with it. Now, if it has the correct suite number, it might get to me. But I've had a bunch of stuff that was misdelivered because the postal person was walking down the hallway, looked at how something was scribbled on there, and thought it went to someplace else. And I understand what you're saying, Steve, that's not your fault. That's the postal person's fault. It is. But the odds of that happening at my P.O. box are approaching zero. It ain't going to happen at the P.O. box. Will it happen in an office suite with a whole bunch of different suites? Yes. And I also share my suite with other attorneys. And so I've actually been there before. They say, oh, by the way, who is Milo? Who is Milo? Something addressed to Milo. And I go, well, it's probably me, because I have at the end of the video, remember Milo and Wolfie? My dogs that I had years ago. But I'm just letting you know that, and I know it seems really odd for me to say this, but if you're going to mail me something, please send it to the P.O. box. Please send it there. I'm more likely to get it. But if you send it to my office, I might not get it. And so I've had several things that didn't show up at the office. And I've told this story before. I had somebody get mad at me and was actually writing me vile emails, calling me a liar and saying that the people I worked with are thieves because something didn't show up. And I think I figured out what happened, and it was during COVID, and we had a mail person who wouldn't come into our office during COVID, would just dump our stuff out by the door for a little while. And one of the things apparently was a big box of toilet paper. And I hate to say this, but our office is on a hallway, and there is a bathroom about 20 feet the other direction. And so someone may have come by and said, oh, big box of toilet paper in the hallway. Probably belongs in the bathroom. I don't know. That's my speculation. But when I mentioned that, the person who sent me the stuff started sending me nasty emails to the point where I had to block them, calling me a thief and a liar. And I mean, it was just crazy. And it was odd that it went from them trying to do me a favor to them calling me names. If you'd sent it to my P.O. box, I would have gotten it. So sorry about that. But also, it's just one of those things that I am an attorney and I share office space with other attorneys. And so I know it seems like a very, very minor thing, but when other people sort the mail and they've actually got to go, oh, this thing that's got this wacky address on it probably goes to Steve. So please, P.O. Box. I know one or two people are going to say, Steve, if I'm sending you something via UPS, I can't send it to your P.O. Box. If that's the case, please email me, steve@letoslaw.com, and say, Steve, I need to send you something via UPS. And if you're going to do that and you have to do it that way, just give me a heads up so I can look for it. Maybe send me a tracking number. That would help. Because what's funny is the guy who said he sent me the case of toilet paper that I never got, I said, well, can you get me a tracking number? He's like, oh, are you calling me a liar? Why not? You called me one. But the point is that ideally we want stuff sent to the P.O. Box. Sorry about that. Likewise, I tell people if you've got news stories, you can send them to me. Send them to steve@letoslaw.com. Message me through Facebook if you're on Facebook and you friended me. If you haven't friended me on Facebook, but you're there, you can go ahead and friend me. I don't have time to click on video links. So I actually get emails where someone goes, Steve, check out this video. And they send me a video link. And I've watched it. And 10 minutes in, I'm like, why am I watching this? So I write somebody back, go, why did you send that to me? Oh, it's a friend of mine's video. I thought you'd want to watch it. Okay, sorry. I actually thought it was important, And so I've had people say, well, Steve, somebody did a story on something that's really, really cool. And they send me a video link. And I look at it, it's a video shot 3 years ago. And most of my stories, I try to do things that are fairly recent. And so there's a lot of problems with video links being sent to me. And I'd prefer that if you found a story that you thought was interesting, video or otherwise, find a version of it that's in another medium where you can send me a link to where I can glance at it, read the headline, or if I want to read the article. I'm not going to fast forward through every video I get sent. And I know people right now are going, Steve, you're lazy. No, I get so many video links sent to me. I used to write back to people saying, I don't watch video links, sorry. And that was actually consuming a ton of my time because I had to keep sending that email. I've already sent that email 4 times today. That's why I'm inspired to do this video right now. So if there's a story that you think I should cover, great. Find a version of it on the internet someplace that is not just a link to a video and send me that URL. I will look at it. I look at every email that comes to me. I look at, okay? But if all you send me is a YouTube video link and you say, Steve, check this out, I might just delete your email, or I might, if I've got time, write back and say, I'm sorry, I don't click on video links. So I'm sorry, I don't, and I haven't got time. It's primarily time. So, by the way, I also don't use them. And I've had people say, well, Steve, you want to watch the video so you can use it in your video. Have you ever seen me use a video within one of my videos other than video I shot? So right now, this is a video, right? I'm shooting this. In 10 minutes, I'm going to get up and walk around and hit stop, okay? I've also shot video driving my car and shot videos like that. Have you ever seen me go, okay, now let's go to the video and watch a video from YouTube? It doesn't happen. I don't do that. That's not what I do here. So please don't send me video links because I don't use them. I get too many of them. And quite frankly, I've gotten some before where I spent time watching, going, why am I watching this? And somebody goes, oh, I just thought it was funny that a friend of mine made this video or something. Sorry. So please don't do that. One of the most common things that happens, and I'm guessing it happens 3 or 4 times a day, people contact me from other states. I am an attorney in the state of Michigan, licensed to practice law in the state of Michigan, state courts and federal courts in Michigan. And the way that the legal system is in America with the bar associations and so on is that you have to be licensed in a state to practice there. And if you're not, there's ways you can get in and pro hoc vice and all that stuff. But what I'm talking about, generally speaking, is I will get a phone call and someone will say, Steve, I got to talk to you about a car I bought. And I go, where are you calling from? Arizona. Okay, I'm sorry, but I can't practice law in Arizona. So I really probably can't help you. You're going to need to contact an attorney in Arizona. And people will often then say, well, how about this? Let me just ask you the question and see if you have an answer. And I say, well, I can't render legal advice in Arizona. So the best I could do is give you a general answer that's not practicing law, which won't help you any. contact a local attorney in your state. And I'm really sorry. I wish I could help more people. But I'm always very careful in my videos. And I have a disclaimer at the end that says this is not legal advice. And if you're in Michigan and you call me the legal question, I can chew your ear off and tell you everything you need to know about it as long as it's in a field I specialize in. I also do get a lot of phone calls from people who say, Steve, I got a question regarding, railroad pension law. Where are you calling from? Michigan. Okay. I don't deal in railroad pension law. There probably is somebody out there who does. In fact, I know for a fact there is. That's why I use that example. But the point is that not many people do. And so I wish I could help everyone who wanted to call me, but I can't. Because if you're not in Michigan, I cannot help you. So don't get me wrong. I've had people call me before and just say, hey, Steve, I saw a video, I had a question or a comment, and I felt like calling rather than emailing you because I'm, sitting someplace and I don't have access to something with a good keyboard. I don't know. And I've had great conversations with people, okay? But if you're in another state with a legal issue, please don't call me with it because I can't help you. Now, if you're curious to know if I know somebody in your state who handles those, feel free to write to me. But I will admit that I know some attorneys who handle lemon law claims in other states. That's pretty much it. So if you have a railroad pension law case in Alaska, I know an attorney in Alaska, but he doesn't handle those cases, So I apologize. I wish I could help everybody, but I can't. So if you are in another state with a legal problem, I can't help you other than simply you asking me saying, Steve, do you know anybody in my state who can answer this question for me? I might. So feel free to ask me that. But unfortunately, I've had people get mad at me. And I've had someone call me before and they say, hey, Steve, I got a question involving a used car I just bought. And I say, what state are you calling from? Oregon. I say, I'm really sorry, I don't know the law in Oregon. Well, let me ask you the question anyway. And I go, but I can't answer it in a useful manner because the only thing I know is how that would be answered in Michigan. They go, well, how about that? Just tell me how it'd be answered in Michigan. I go, what good will that do you? How will that help you? If you were in another state, here's how it would work. Well, you're not in another state. And I know a lot of people go, well, doesn't it give you some guidance at least to know that in this state of... No, it won't help you at all. And I've had people call me before and say, Steve, I talked to somebody, you told me this in another state. What do you think? I'm like, well, what state are you in? Well, I'm in Michigan. Okay, well, in Michigan, it works this way. Really? But my friend said, yeah, your friend was talking about another state. Laws vary wildly from state to state. That's one of my favorite sayings because it's so true. Another question I get asked about all the time, what is with the beware of low-flying owls sign? And I'm going to answer this now to save myself the trouble of typing it in the future. But a while back, I did a story about a crazy lawsuit in Michigan where a guy was coming in to land an airplane. And as he came in low, he clipped a car that was on the road that ran next to the airport. And the airplane vehicle collision made the news because the guy in the airplane sued the guy in the car due to some vagaries of Michigan's no-fault law. And so I wanted to use an illustration of that, but I couldn't find anything that was appropriate. But I did actually remember that I had a photograph I had taken of a sign that said, beware of low-flying owls. And there was a place down in Florida where apparently there's owls that burrow in the ground and they come in at night and occasionally they clip cars or cars clip them. And so they put up a sign that says, beware of low-flying owls. So I used that photograph as the thumbnail on that video a couple years ago. And I just thought it was funny. That's all. I just thought it was funny. Somebody sent me that and I appreciate that very much. So I thought I'll put that up there, not realizing it was going to cause a ton of questions as to what it's all about. The speed limit sign over here is an homage to the Cannonball Run movie, which starts with somebody drawing an X on a speed limit sign. And that is not the actual sign from the movie. I've had several people ask me that. That sign was given to me by my dear friend, Ed Bolian, whose signature is below the E. And he runs VinWiki, which is the sticker on the side. I've had quite a few people say, Steve, you understand that by crossing out the letters S and D, it says P. Yes, I know that. It's been commented on by several thousand people by now. So if that strikes your fancy, then your fancy has been struck. The lawyer dog is also a reference to a video I did a while back where a guy being interrogated by the police said, I think I need a lawyer, dog. And he was saying, in essence, I want a lawyer. And he was referring to the police officer as dog. It's like saying dude or chief. And on appeal, he said, I asked for a lawyer and they kept questioning me. And an appeals court, I think in Louisiana, but I could be wrong, but an appeals court down south said, no, he was clearly asking for a lawyer dog. And since lawyer dogs don't exist, the police could keep questioning him. Which, again, is a great example of a court playing dumb and by doing so, looking dumb. I also do get asked quite a bit about the 4 cars on the top shelf behind me. Behind this bumper sticker is a red Viper. I have a Viper. I've mentioned that once or twice. This car here is a Tucker 48, not a Torpedo, but a Tucker 48, which is what it's called. And I wrote a book about Preston Tucker and his battle to build a car of tomorrow. And that is an homage to the book I wrote about Preston Tucker. This car here is the Charger Daytona that K&K Racing owned and Bobby Isaac raced in 1969, 1970. And that is a model of the car. I wrote a book about the wing cars. I also wrote a book about Bobby Isaac. And I've driven the car that model's based on. It's pretty cool. So that's something I tell people. And then, of course, this is a turbine car. People often ask, what's that bronze car, copper car? I've heard people say, what's the red car on the end? That's the Chrysler turbine car built in 1963. Chrysler built a fleet of 55 of those, lent out a bunch of them to the public as part of a big publicity stunt, and then later rounded up most of them and destroyed them. 9 of them still exist. Most of them are in museums. Jay Leno's got one. The Stahl Museum in Michigan's got one. Those both run. So the Stahl Museum one runs. So does one in St. Louis. Chrysler still has 2. Theirs run. And so they're out there. There's a few of them out there. 9 of them survive. I've driven 3 of them, which I like to tell people also. So that's that. Those cars have a story, like I said. And otherwise, we do have Oxford English dictionaries both on both sides here. There's 5 you can see here. There's 5 below you cannot see. 5 here you can see. 5 below you cannot see. That is a complete collection of the Oxford English Dictionary, the full expanded version, sent to me by a good friend of mine who sent those in to me because I cracked a joke once. And Kevin and his wife were watching. And I said, you know something? I have the compact edition, which is the 2-volume. You got to read it with a magnifying glass. And I jokingly said, I've got this one. I don't have the full set because nobody loves me. I wasn't asking for the complete set. A little while later, the complete set showed up. What can I tell you? And then finally, the thing I'm going to tell you that I get the most questions about is what's the deal with the $100 bill? What's the deal with the $100 bill? So many of you, by the way, have been scouring the background, wondering where it was because it wasn't visible until I put it right there. And there was a time when I ran a contest where I said, I'll give that $100 bill to anybody who can prove the following. And I put rules up because Google requires you to do that on YouTube if you have a contest, although a lot of people I know run contests and don't do that. But I put the rules up and said, here are the rules. Here's how you can win. Anything other than this does not win. And it went on for, I think, about a year, maybe, where people were sending me responses that were not winning responses. And when I'd point out to them that your response doesn't meet the rules, then they get pissed off at me and scream and yell, figuratively speaking, through the email. And I had said during a video, I will give this $100 bill to the winner of the contest should I ever have one. And by the way, in response to people who said, I don't want that stupid Federal Reserve money, I want gold or silver, I also said I'd pay it in gold or silver if somebody wanted to. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that I have, I've got a $50 on here, walking $50. It's right there, but I can't reach it without knocking over the tubes. But I actually had a stack of Walking Liberty $50. And I said, I will give you the equivalent of $100 in silver, if that's what you want, if you win the contest. But nobody won the contest. And so I had said, because I was going to give this exact $100 bill to the winner, I had said, I will put this on the set so that you know that if you win, that's the bill you're going to get. I'm not going to go this fungible thing. You're going to get that exact bill. Or if you ask for it silver, you get silver. So after about a year or so, I mentioned that I was going to probably have to end the contest because I was getting sick of reading the same non-responses over and over again. But while the contest was running, I started moving the bill around to different places. And it became a game. And there are several people out there who the second a video goes up, they watch it and they look for the $100 bill and then they'll comment and they'll say, that's where it is. And quite often it's easy to find, like right there. Sometimes I hide it in really good places or stick it down here or stick it over here or be sticking it behind a sign or I'll put it backwards upside down. I've actually put it on the microphone before. I've put it in my pocket before. But it's gotten to the point now where that's become a game unto itself. It's not a contest. There are no winners of this contest, although I admit once in a while I forget to move it and I feel bad. But I've actually had people who didn't understand that, and I've gotten emails from people who said, Steve, I spotted the $100 bill. Do I get it? No. For the same reason you don't get to keep the microphones because you spotted them too. I mean, the $100 bill is just on the set. And by the way, the set does change from time to time. In fact, you will notice that right about here, I've got a watermark. And I put the watermark in. This is the final question I'm going to ask and answer because no one asked. Actually, 2 people did ask. But some people have been apparently taking my videos and chopping them into segments and putting them up on TikTok. I don't do TikTok, so I was not really that terribly aware of this. And somebody said, Steve, I found a bunch of your stuff on TikTok. And I went and looked, and somebody just clipped my stuff and put it on TikTok. And now, if they did that on YouTube, that's one thing, but I don't even care about TikTok. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if somebody watches something on TikTok might wonder where it came from. Now, I know you're going to say, Steve, your name is all over the place. That's true, but it would take some detective work to start thinking about it and go, okay, S. Leto and Leto's Law and whatever. So I put the watermark here, and I'm going to leave it there. I hope it doesn't bother you too much. But I'm going to probably move some of this other stuff around. So the stuff behind me does move. It does evolve over time. But the watermark is going to stay here because I'm hoping that if somebody sees my stuff on TikTok, on someone else's channel, they might go, hey, I bet that's Steve Leto, because that is actually the official name of my channel on YouTube. It's not Leto's Law. Leto's Law is the program. The channel is Steve Leto, as if it matters. So there you go, the frequently asked questions. But if you take away nothing from this, well, there's 2 things. 1, send stuff to the P.O. Box, please. Send stuff to the P.O. Box, please. And number 2, email me at steve@letoslaw.com, but don't email me video links. Email me links to other media that I can glance at and read to decide if it's something I want to cover. Other than that, thank you very much. This show would be pretty much meaningless without the viewers. Without the viewers, I wouldn't exist. At least this channel would not exist. So I want to thank you guys for that very, very much. And if you have questions or comments or if I missed anything, please put them below. I'll do my best to answer. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Leto's Law. Minimalism is the intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of anything that distracts us from it.